friends and vinyl community. It's Brian from Brian's Vinyl Records. Welcome back to another edition of 5 random albums from my collection via the Discogs Shake. This is episode number 2. So let's take a look at what we have for this episode. All right, album number 1, Keith Urban's Be Here album. Keith Urban is an absolutely phenomenal guitar player. Great writer, great singer, but his guitar playing is outstanding. If you've never seen him play his guitar the way he does, check out some of his live stuff that he's got out there because it's just really good. He's a fantastic guitar player. This is a 2004 album from Keith Urban. This is the first time on vinyl that it was pressed in 2018. Capitol Records put this out. It's a fantastic pressing. It sounds absolutely great. It's on standard, black wax, and we're really happy to pick it up. I have all of his studio albums that are on vinyl currently in my collection. I just absolutely find his guitar playing just that fantastic that I picked up everything. And the big songs on here were Making Memories of Us. That was the big hit off of this one here. So 2004, Keith Urban, Be Here. Next up, Fleetwood Mac, Then Play On. I'll be honest with you, I don't listen to this album very often. It's not a go-to Fleetwood Mac album for me. I am a big fan of the early Fleetwood Mac era, more so than the Buckingham Nicks era. That blues band that they were in the 60s and early 70s is what I kind of grew up with Fleetwood Mac on. My dad was a fan of the album Heroes Are Hard to Find, and so that's the Fleetwood Mac I knew going in. Of course, I had heard all the other big stuff with Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, but I didn't know them as Fleetwood Mac at the time when I heard them. So this is I believe the final album that Peter Green was on. It features, this is a 2015 reissue, and it features the original UK track listing. So on the American release, they didn't have the songs One Sunny Day and Without You on it. The UK version did. So they put those back on to the record for the reissue. And it sounds really good. The reason I don't listen to this very often is it's really kind of a slower album for them. And for this version of the band, I really like the bluesy stuff. So it just wasn't, it's just not the one I pull out very often. It's not bad, but just not the one I pull out very often. It's a gatefold reissue on black wax. And like I said, I believe this is the last one that Fleetwood Mac did with Peter Green before he had officially left the band. Next, we have Megadeth's Killing Is My Business. This is the debut Megadeth album after Dave was kind of kicked out of Metallica. He came out in full force, wanted to prove something to the world. This is an original pressing from 1985 on Combat with the Gray Camel label. They released several different labels with this album, so it's kind of cool. If you're a collector, you probably want to collect them all. I did not want to do that, but it was super excited to pick this up over the summer and add it to my Megadeth collection. This is one where when I was young, I had the CD of it and I thought it sounded just awful. It sounded like they recorded the album in a tin can. I just never would listen to it because I just didn't like how it sounded. When they put out the Final Kill version on vinyl just a few years back, I picked that up and it made me realize what a great album this actually was. They cleaned up everything. It sounded just fantastic, and I really listened to it quite a bit after that Final Kill version came out. As I was building up my original pressings of Megadeth collection, because a lot of the reissues had the 2004 re-records that Dave Mustaine put out there, and I wanted to get the original recordings on vinyl if I could. Sometimes it's cost prohibitive. I was able to find this at a price I was willing to pay, and I'm super glad I did. It sounds really good on vinyl, way better than it ever did on CD. I don't know if they just forgot to master it for the CD when they put it out or what they did, but the vinyl sounds good, so I totally listened to this version any day. I still prefer the Final Kill version because they really cleaned it up and made it sound pretty good. There are a few minor differences in there from parts that they found, especially with Gar Samuelson, the drummer. They found a couple parts of his that they thought were pretty neat and added them to the Final Kill version. But this is still a great sounding record. They came out just on fire. Megadeth, killing is my business, and business is good. Okay, next we have Nirvana's Bleach album. So, never really a big Nirvana fan. I remember Nevermind, I really enjoyed that album. There's several songs on there. I remember going back and trying to listen to this one, and I just didn't get it at the time. Years later, I was able to finally listen to it and enjoy it for what it was. This is a 1989, I believe, Nirvana put this out. This is pre-Dave Grohl on drums with the band. And, I've grown to really enjoy this record. Some of the songs on here that I really like are Floyd the Barber's good. About a Girl is fantastic on here. I've grown to really enjoy this album more than I did back in the day. And so, yeah, it gets some spin for me, and glad to have it on vinyl. This is the 2011 Sub Pop reissue of Nirvana's Bleach. And last up, we have a local Minnesota band that I have just fallen in love with. These guys are absolutely fantastic. This is Turn, 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 and their debut album from 2020, Can't Go Back. Turn, Turn, Turn is, they've got a real good Laurel Canyon type vibe in some of their music. They just put out their brand new album, New Rays from an Old Sun. I picked that up on last Friday, and I was able to listen to it. It's absolutely fantastic. If you're into that late 60s sound that came out of that Laurel Canyon, Mamas and the Papas, and Beach Boys even, and you got Crosby, Stills and Nash, all that stuff, that vibe, you'll really, I think, dig Turn, Turn, Turn. Guitar player Andy here is from a band called the Honey Dogs, who got, they were pretty big around this area, and some of you may know who the Honey Dogs are. And then Savannah, I used to know her from my days when I was playing a bunch of open mics. She was just getting started in music as well, playing a lot of stuff on her ukulele, and it's good to see her, rise up in the local scene and get some exposure. She's absolutely fantastic songwriter and great singer, and this is awesome. If you guys haven't heard this, I highly recommend checking them out on your streaming services and giving them a try. They do have albums on their Bandcamp that you can purchase, so look them up. Turn, 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 Minneapolis, I believe, is what they go under, so Turn, 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 MPLS. You should be able to find them on Bandcamp, on Instagram, and on Facebook by putting that in. Great stuff, love it, super excited. Their second album and their first album are absolutely great. So check them out, Turn, 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 good stuff. All right, that's going to do it for this week's edition of 5 Random Albums. I hope you enjoyed this. This is kind of a fun thing, using the Discogs Shake feature to kind of explore what I have sitting in all these bins over here, all the records that I have. It's fun to just kind of pick random albums and kind of talk about what they mean to me and why I have them in my collection maybe, and all that stuff. So if you like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. Love to have you along for the ride. And as always, leave a comment in the comment sections below. I love talking to those of you in the VC. And until next time, keep spinning, vinyl friends.